Welcome to the Scab5. This is going to be a lively Tuesday at 7 interview, and we appreciate you guys joining. It is going to be 1 hour or less, and it's going to be, balls to the wall. We're going to press the gas, and off we go. And we are appreciative of you guys joining us. We're going to be giving 2 giveaways, not tonight, but we're going to give away. We're going to draw names for folks who share this video. So we encourage you to share away, and we're going to go deep into the history of the haunt industry. We're going to go into the experience of perhaps what I believe is maybe a world record holder for the longest, acting at the most haunts, most years, ever, and maybe there'll be somebody from there. But we appreciate you guys joining us today. If you've ever watched Tuesday at 7, we are a that goes virtual once a week on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock, most weeks. And we encourage people to share the video because when you share, it gets to a wider audience. But when you share, we put your name in a hat. And if you joined us last week, we had author Vicki Verley, and she is just releasing Erie, Lake Erie, which is a zine. It's a comic. It's a graphic novel about the eerie happenings around Lake Erie. And if you were with us last week and you shared that interview, your name is in the chat. And so for the sake of respect, Rex, respect, granddaddy of the haunt industry, pick a winner, please.
What do we have here, boys and girls? A Cassie Loveless.
Cassie, Yay! We'll get in contact with you, and we will get you a copy of Erie, Lake Erie. And thank you, Vicki, for joining us last week. There was 1,700 people watch that episode. So thank you all. But today we are. I think this is our biggest panel of folks. I don't know that we've ever had 5 people.
How many was the absinthe?
3 or 4. It wasn't a debacle. 3 or 4. But we have 5 today, and we're going to jump right into the reason why there's 5 people. But if you actually, I want to turn the camera for 1 second because we want to tease folks right away because we had promised. If you take a look at this, Craig, there's going to be 2 giveaways. There's going to be a vintage Scab5 T-shirt signed. We're going to provide a photo that was taken of the Scab5
2008.
2008, so almost 20 years ago. Punching makeup DVD, and we're going to unwrap that and have Schmecky sign it. For the second winner, we're going to provide, again, another a separate photo. We're going to go back and we're going to talk about why the Haunted Hydro. This T-shirt is from 1998, so it was my oldest double that we're giving away, and then we're also going to give away a copy of Scared Stiff. So what we want to do is encourage you guys to share. Next week we're going to have a drawing, and if your name is pulled, you're going to get either lot 1 or lot 2, and we'll send that to you. But there's some vintage materials here, but I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna first shoot a couple questions towards Rex. And so, Rex.
Yes.
What was the first year that, and tell us why you got started in the haunt industry?
Oh, boy. That's a tough question, Roger. It's a long question. I was doing theater. I was a theater nut. I did theater for almost a decade, and I finally got to the point that many theater people get to. They want to have their own theater so they can put on their own plays, do their own productions, and so on and so forth. They can be the master of their own ship. And that happened in 1974. Me and my business partner, Charlie Bourne, got a hold of the Peninsula Playhouse in Peninsula, Ohio. We put on 2 plays during the summertime. Happy Birthday, Wanda June, which is a bizarre kind of black comedy by the guy that also wrote Slaughterhouse-5. Can't remember his name right now. And then we did we did this crazy farce British farce called No Sex Please We're British. And about halfway through the rehearsals for the second play, a couple of guys came up to us, Charlie and myself, and said, how about if we put on a haunted house? And I looked at them and said, what is a haunted house? And they said, well, it's just like down the street at Hudson, because Peninsula Playhouse was out, I guess it's still there. It's on Route 303, and you would just go like 4 or 5 miles further east on 303, go into Hudson, and there's Hudson Haunted House. So we put on a haunted house, and that's how I got started.
1974.
1974.
What's the math on that? That is 50. What is the math on that? Is it 52?
It's kind of tough because I didn't do anything in 75, and then I took a couple years off for COVID. So this year is going to be year number 49 for me.
49 for you.
Right.
Well, that is pretty amazing. And of that, about how many different haunts?
Oh, that I know.
Yeah.
That I know. It's 119 thus far.
119. So I know there's a lot of folks out there that they can't even imagine. You know, they work for a single haunt, made for 2 or 3, but 119 haunts. That's got to be a world record.
And it's haunted attractions, not haunted houses.
Oh.
So
tell us the difference.
So if you go to a haunt that's got multiple venues, say they got a hayride, they got come on, Rex, a corn maze, they've got this, they got that. I only count them as one. I don't count them as 3, 4, 5. Remember, Nightmare at Painesville one year did 8 haunted attractions. I only count that as one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Based on location.
Fair. So I call them haunted attractions. It's more difficult to see, but it's more accurate.
And the reason why I'm beginning with you, because I want to go a little bit chronological. I know we're going to go off and we're going to take detours and we're going to come back. After that haunted house, right, 74, you were part of an organization, or a couple organizations, right, before you ended up at Broadview Heights. Give us a quick history of 74 to Broadview Heights.
Okay, so as I said, nothing in 75, because I went back to college. My girlfriend said, you know, haunted houses can be a lot of fun. Her brother was the vice president of the Cleveland JCs. And she said to me, they get a zillion people out there. You should come on out here and act, because I was telling her I can't do plays anymore. I work during the daytime as a bank manager, and I go downtown at nighttime for Cleveland State. I can't do 4, 5, 6 weeks of rehearsals. I can't do that sort of thing. So that's what promoted that particular discussion. So I got involved with Road, which transformed into the Cleveland PAL, the Police Athletic League Haunted House. Then in 1980, we went to Franklin Castle on the near west side of Cleveland. 1981, we went to a haunt in Berea and Middleburg Heights. It was actually run by the Berea Middleburg Heights JCs. 1982, we put on a haunted attraction in Southgate Shopping Center in Maple Heights. And finally, in 1983, we managed to make it to Bloodview. Now, I worked for a little while for Cleveland Haunted Hollow at Brook Park and Pearl, which is a for-profit haunt. But they wanted to stay open until 2:30 every night.
I'm going to pause just for a second. I want to interrupt. Are you on the Wi-Fi or on your data? Because it is on the cell.
On the Wi-Fi.
It's freezing a little bit.
On the Wi-Fi. How does it look over here? Because it might... keep an eye on it.
And only for a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
No, I was going to say that at the Cleveland Haunted Hollow at Brook Park and Pearl, the owners wanted us to keep the haunted house open to 2:30, which is, of course, ridiculous. Because they said, oh, we got all these customers there. This is where the Dixie Electric Company was, that big, huge dance bar.
Federals back
And all we got were drunks that came through.
Yeah.
And I had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to work and so forth. So anyway, we transitioned over to Bloodview in 1983. So that's the haunts that I worked at in my first decade or so.
In the first decade or so.
Okay.
And if to fast forward ahead, it was at Bloodview that the 5 of us first met each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's go there. Not to Bellevue. I mean, we're all members of Legion of Terror. We were, that was the nonprofit organization that we belonged to, that we connected at. And in what year was it? Was it 96? 96 that organization fractured.
Yes.
And and that we found ourselves
in the middle.
Yeah, and looking for new horizons, and so that was that's a quick history that brings us over to the Scab5. But what I want to do is just a quick shout out, right? Because we want to make sure that the shout out occurs, and that is there were a couple members that are no longer with us, right? There was Tawny Zeitz, who was part of the original Scab5. And there was also David Chaff, which is no longer with us. And so they were members that were part and are no longer there. But the Scab5, Jeff Beck, do you remember how the name came about?
I believe it was something to the effect of, I don't know if it had something to do with us going over to perhaps a night at the Haunted Hydro. And when we came back, there were two Lions members in the garage, and they, for good or bad, said, your presence or lack of it tonight or last night, was the next day, crippled the house. And so Roger was kind of like, well, what does that mean? I mean, it wasn't like an ego thing per se. It was more like, wow, then maybe you should appreciate it a little bit more. But then I guess the Scab thing was like, so when I'm not quite sure exactly how the Scab part came. It was just like, I mean, we know what a Scab is, like ripping it off and then feeling.
I have an inside joke.
It was,
There's a
you guys were
different
trying to
definition.
come up with names, and I think had been joking about the Fab5, and then I think it was Judy
Oh, okay.
said you were scabs, like
Okay.
not necessarily scab, but like you were crossing the picket line,
Correct.
kind of thing.
That is
And
exactly
then
right.
you guys said, that's perfect.
Okay.
Right.
Scab5 it is.
I mean, we accept it as a compliment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we wanted
That's
to,
a great name. Good on Judy for it.
especially because Rex does Scab Boy, and so
Oh, that's
that
true,
works
too.
well. Good for the Scab5.
Really? My remembrance is it was Dees and Golly that said that.
Oh.
Oh, that could be.
It came from the Legion.
It was
side.
one of the saucy
It was
Legion women.
it was a woman from the Legion of Terror who was upset with the five of us.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that name, that recognition, we just carried it and ran with it.
Yeah.
And it ultimately, we got recognized as Scab5 across the United States, more so than the group we were formerly a part of.
Well, if I could add to that, I mean, try
Try to be short.
to shell in my head a little bit, but like the five of us always pushed ourselves, like always. I mean, and we wore it with as a badge of honor. And it wasn't just to me; it was always my Hollywood. So being around these people, the inspiration. You get the five of us someplace, like when we go to Mystery Manor in Omaha or wherever, a special showing, or just the old days of Bellevue. It's something to be dealt with. It's kind of hard. It's like being in a rock band, kind of. There's this energy when the five of us get on stage, which is the playground of any haunt. So I didn't care about the Scab thing. I didn't care what they said anyways. It was like, well, we're going to go down the path of creativity and get out of the way because we don't want to step on it.
And that brings me to the next question. Does anybody have a good recollection of our first night? It was mid-90s at the Haunted Hydro. You remember that,
Yes.
Jeff Glasser?
Yes, I do.
You want to bring us up to your recollection of that?
Well,
We brought the Cleveland format.
I'm a different person than I was in 94, 95, mid-90s. But we kind of like we're all feeling ourselves at that moment in time, egotistically. I mean, because we go, okay, we're coming from Bloodview, we're doing it this way, and we're so good at it. We're going to go out to Fremont where they don't even know what's coming. And we're going to hit them with everything we got. And we did. We came out in full makeup and costume. We crashed their queue line. And I vividly remember Roger's initial reaction from what he heard from
A customer.
customer in the queue line. First thing is it's almost like we're playing football and they got hit and knocked to the ground.
But wait, before we go there, So we were getting ready in the basement of their
Country club.
clubhouse.
Yes.
Let's say the opening was 7:30 or 8, whatever it was, and the queue line was already full. And we're like, okay, right before it opens, we're going to go up and we're going to surround and we're just going to charge the queue line.
Well, yeah.
So we just kind of did that surround. People customers had no idea really what was coming.
No.
And then all of a sudden we converged as a group. And that's when.
Technically it's called a group scare all at once. Okay. Just attack like a squadron in the air in World War II. We nailed them. And I think it was a big black guy goes, "Them motherfuckers are crazy!" And holy crap. We had a good time. We were very successful. And Bob Turner, the proprietor of the Hydro and the golf course at the time, was besides himself with happiness. He was overjoyed. It was all night like that. His crowd, his local crowd in Fremont, completely unprepared for what we brought. Just a different mentality. And this is the same effect across the country as well. The farther west you go, the bigger impact it is. But not so much Chicago. They don't care. You could chop your head off and they'll just laugh at you.
And over the years, when we were talking about Scab5, I mean, it's a name. There wasn't a formal organization. We didn't get a check made out for Scab5. We would come together and we would act at different locations. And sometimes we would just split. We'd be at different locations. And for those first several years, it felt kind of like a rock and roll gig. We're like, all right, how many hunts this year? You're like, on our tour, there's going to be 12 or 14 or 18. And even the rock, I even call it almost like Rex is the only hunt actor that I think has ever done like his tour T-shirt.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, Rex.
Oh, I just like tour T-shirts, and what they are is they were actually gifts for the haunts that hired me. So I would make up these T-shirts with Ray Van Tilburg, the same guy that did the Legion of Terror T-shirts. And so there was this piece of artwork about Lord Zargon on the front, and on the back is the list of dates and names of haunts and their locations. And I would give out a T-shirt or two to each one of the haunts that had hired me. So that's where the T-shirts came from.
Two-sided T-shirts.
Yeah, two-sided, sure. Yeah, artwork on front, itinerary on the back.
I have two different styles. One's airbrush, one is not.
You're talking about the T-shirt?
Yeah.
Oh.
Tour shirt, yeah.
Yeah?
I got two of them.
No, they
you
all had
steal them?
art airbrush on them.
Yeah. I've got both shirts. Yeah, two different versions.
Two different versions, what?
Of your tours. I have two of them.
2 years, two different.
I don't know what
2
years,
years
but I have
of
two of them.
Oh, you have two of them
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
2
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I did a lot more than 2 years worth. Okay.
I have two of the X amount. You did. Jesus Rex. I'm 61. I still got it. I know I do.
I'm going to put you in a home.
I hope so. I hope so.
If you think that we senior citizens are energetic, you should have been there back in our 20s, 30s, and 40s. I mean, it was crazy. And our first visit to the haunted Hydro was that 95?
Well, you were there.
95. I was there at 94.
We
But
came in
our
95.
was 95.
Yeah.
So that's actually technically 31 years if we're
Yeah.
talking about
Yes.
October,
Sure.
Right.
Next
Right.
month is 31.
And thank you to Bob and Beth Turner.
Yes.
And
Thanks, Bob.
yeah, I mean, because perhaps if we didn't venture up to Fremont, maybe our trajectory may have been different.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember you calling me up, Roger, during the 1994 season. You were up there by yourself, and I was at Bloodview. And that happened to be the year that Bloodview got its biggest attendance ever. 37,713 customers went through Bloodview.
Such a fun year.
It was a great year. It was a wonderful year. I loved it.
A lot of people left at the wrong time.
And so Roger calls me up and says, hey, I've met this guy named Bob Turner at this haunt up in Fremont called the Haunted Hydro. And how about if you come up here and act for an evening or two? And I said, Roger, I cannot leave this place here at Bloodview. We are doing a land office business every night. We're setting records left and right. I just can't believe this sort of place.
Yeah.
So I didn't do that, but
The next year.
until the next year.
And you didn't regret it.
And the next year, it was a lot easier for me to pick up and leave because we had a certain person running the Legion of Terror, and he said things like, there's not going to be any more deep lot acting.
Ooh.
There's not going to be any more religious costumes, like dressing up as a nun or a priest. And at that point, okay, I'm done. I'm done, okay? Because what I've told people for years before that, and I'm still serious about it, if I find a great haunted house, I'm going there. And when it doesn't, or when it no longer is a great haunted house, I'll move. And I would tell people this at Bloodview. You know, if this place starts going downhill, I'm out of here and I'm going to go somewhere else. So
And
it
you
was
went
easy.
everywhere else.
It was, yeah, and it was easy for me to pick up and leave for a number of evenings to go to other haunts in '95. Because you don't tell me about not wearing a certain costume. You don't tell me, where I can and can't.
My first year as a rookie in 1990, my first year as a Legion member, Rex and I, despite all the rules that were in place at the time, we went to Painesville and acted as guest actors one night.
Breaking the rules.
You were
breaking the rules.
living in Mayfield still back then.
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
Yes, I was.
Black t-shirt wearing male industry,
Yes.
give us a little bit of perspective, like a female perspective about not only haunt acting, but, joining the Scab5 and, running, into uncharted
It
territory.
was uncharted, I'll tell you that. So for me, and I can't represent all women as far as going into the haunted attraction industry because I went into it more. I had always done theater. I liked the idea of acting. This was a completely different thing. I'd never done improv acting before. So that was huge and I loved it. I wasn't, and still I'm not a huge horror fan. And so that was a difficult, piecing that together was figuring out where I like spooky, where I like thriller, but not necessarily gore and guts and trying to make those fit in what I was doing, depending on the haunt that I was at. And some years I was 23 when I started, I think. And
crap.
so it took, I know. Well, I graduated in 90. So, but it was frustrating at times, but I also enjoyed kind of the arc and figuring out my own place and also realizing that what is scary as a male actor is different than what is scary as a female actor. I know I aggravate people a lot when I talk about the whole sex doesn't always sell in the haunt industry, because if you're trying to sell scary and sex is subjective, then, especially depending on your age and what you think is sexy isn't necessarily what the other person thinks is sexy, and it's definitely not scary at that point. So that's something that as a woman I had to kind of figure out over 3+ decades. But discovering improv acting, discovering special effects makeup, and at Bloodview, we had the opportunity to do any character for the most part that we wanted, depending on the year and who was setting the rules that year. And that was a glorious opportunity to do things that I definitely wouldn't have thought about prior, being in theater. Community theater wasn't letting you run out and deep live and just do whatever character with a script. And so that is something I enjoyed getting into the haunted attraction industry.
I think it's apropos to show this. So this is the late Wayne Seeley who drew this. This was a Scab5. You'll see here it was October 17th and 18th. We were there 2 nights. We flew up to Omaha, and it was 2008. But this is Beth's character. It certainly is not a sexy character.
No.
What's the name
No.
of the character?
Do you remember what was
That's
that?
That was a riff. The next night was my homeless person, but that was kind of a character, which was kind of my theme character when we were at Bloodview. But that's a very dialogue heavy character, and I didn't know how I was going to play in Omaha, but I played pretty well. Not as well as the homeless person did the next night, but
Give us a quick rundown, like a 1 minute or less story about the homeless person.
oh, the homeless person was I was trying to. I had never been as much as at Bloodview. We had a lot of people that, go through the haunted house and, 94 through 96, that was thousands of people, but I had never seen an 8,000 plus line like we did at Omaha. And I admit I was a little I felt like I was out of my league, imposter syndrome, whatever, you want to call it. So I just went full on with my homeless character and, was just going from person to person in the line. And at some point, I guess a police officer had gone up to Mark Seeley and asked if they needed to remove me because they thought I was a homeless person. And there were at least 3 police officers who had said, oh, we spotted her, and they were trying to figure out how to grab me without creating a problem in the line. And Mark said, please don't. We paid a lot of money for her to come here. Don't remove her. She's one of our actresses. And that probably is one of the top, moments of like, oh, I am actually pretty good at this.
Yeah. So the Mystery Manor, what was great was Wayne Seeley was an incredible visionary, an incredible artist. He created based upon, this is our Saturday night characters, Sunday morning, he handed us copies.
These are Friday night.
Oh, these are Friday night.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Friday night. And then on was it Saturday or Sunday, he handed us the finished work, but whatever it was. I mean, what an incredible gift from Wayne Seeley. Mark, that whole crew out there, for Mystery Manor was an incredible memory for all of us.
What are the name of all these characters?
Yeah, that's, so what's, so you were saying this is kind of a break on Ananda. And I'm going to get back to that in a second, but Rex, we recognize this character. A lot of people around the world recognize this character.
That is Butch the Butcher.
Better Meet Butch.
Better Meet Butch.
Age.
This is Jeff Glasser Cage. This is me, and this is Jed. It is a hillbilly character. Schmecky.
That's just like a generic old man. Yeah. Just kind of a generic old man.
I want to get to the question or the comment about Ananda. Like, where did that? So I think a lot of folks are like, where do you come up with names or characters or a haunt moniker? I'm going to come back to Ananda here in a second because I want to start over here because not only do you have a unique moniker, you have a license plate.
I do.
That lets everybody know who's driving the vehicle.
Yeah, I've had that plate now for more than 45 years. So Zargon is a riff on Sargon, beginning with an S, S-A-R-G-O-N. Sargon was the name of 3 different emperors of the ancient Babylonian, what do you want to call it, empire, which was in the 9th and 8th centuries BC. These 3 guys were not related, but they took the same name. And all of them were bloodthirsty, vicious warriors. They'd get up in the morning every spring, they'd lick the finger and go, and so in Assyria, which is modern day Iraq and Turkey and Iran, and it was almost like they licked their finger and said, well, which way are we going to go this year for our raping and pillaging and plundering and looting and burning and so forth? Every year they went out and they just clobbered some other next door or nearby country. They were horrible people, just absolutely horrible people. I was fascinated, me being a history buff, I was fascinated by them in history class. And then, of course, Star Trek picked up in the original Star Trek series. They used Sargon and a few other things. So I just changed the first letter of the name to Z. That's what I did.
So Zargon was your haunt moniker. And that character's named Butch, but Zargon was, a name that we could communicate together while in character. Like I could call you. Nobody would have any ideas. I would call you Rex, right in the middle of a 4,000 night show, 4,000 customer show. But we could call Zargon, or we could call Ananda. Tell us where Ananda came from.
I was really struggling. I didn't repeat a lot of my characters when I first started because I was trying to find my niche in haunting. Again, I was winging it and didn't really have great example. And I kept kind of going back to this really sarcastic, and I don't want to say sarcastic, but just it was very, very dialogue heavy. And I needed to come up with a name with her. And she was very dark. And I was struggling with coming up with a name. And there's a word, Ananda is Sanskrit. And I loved it because it was the exact opposite of what this character was. And I'll probably misquote it because I haven't thought about it in a while, but it's the joy in existence without which the universe would fall apart and collapse. And that's the exact opposite of what this character was. And then I also called her Ananda Hexen, and Hexen is German, I think, for witch something. So that was just how I came up with it, because I was a little focused on the dialogue and the story behind it. So I got a little heavy-handed with the naming, but I like it.
Now, Jeff Glatzer, your name is one that a lot of haunt fans, Halloween people recognize. So what? Don't. So tell us what it is.
What?
Your knighted name, let's call it. Your moniker.
Samhain, which is essentially Halloween, the season of the harvest, or it be pronounced Samhain or Samhain, and which I did for a Halloween character. The standard nickname or knighted name was Samhain, but on Halloween I became Samhain. The only difference was the character was a shapeshifter, so I would put a pumpkin on my head that I carved out, scraped out, put an ugly face on it. Did a makeup underneath. Then I perforated the ribs of the pumpkin, put it on my head, did a little dance in front of a very humble audience, and then tore it off my head. I did that in shows all across the country. And then I would go right at them with the makeup on, and that was them.
Jeff, back.
Yes.
Tell us your moniker. I mean, you've had several, such as and folks who know and are around us often. We have Jeff and Jeff. They're spelled differently, but you took on the name
Arachnid.
Arachnid. Yeah, and why?
Well, I'm definitely scared of spiders, of course, if you couldn't guess. And quick story: we were watching a movie, Roger and I, in his basement, and I didn't know it, but he had a little plastic spider with a hose attached to a bladder. So it's just sitting there. He just kind of put it next to me on my knee.
Such a nice friend.
And then when he was asking me a question, he made sure that he had my attention. And I went, and he hit the bladder, and the spider went whoop, right by my leg, and I was like, ah! And he really got me bad. I felt like such a loser, but yeah, so spider. So then I just kind of went with that theme, and I had this cheesy little shirt I used to wear at nightclubs back in the late 80s. It was white with this little tarantulas on it, and so I took that and I kind of altered it, made the sleeves longer, and then painted some tarantulas on it, and then I would just cover myself in spider webs, just tons and tons and tons, and then I would get little beetles from stuffed animals and call them spider eggs. And just the whole thing, and eventually I altered the makeup over years and years and years, where I actually paint little spider bites on me too. So it was just looked like I was tortured. And I would, spiders are gonna lay eggs in your ears, and I would literally throw spider eggs in people's hair and ears and stuff. And it's just the process of, just putting that idea in their head that that's what it was. They would freak out. And it's just awesome.
But you overcame
my fear. Yeah, I
and a party at your mom's. You got a tarantula.
Oh,
You were laying on the ground in front of the TV, right?
yeah.
And what happened?
I stuck it on my face.
Yeah, Dave Greathouse came along with a real tarantula.
Loving friends.
Loving friends. I wonder if I
Name
can
that tarantula,
propose
'cause
it.
I can't.
I never named it,
Okay, you do.
but it was terrifying. But that kind of, that was the end of it.
But you faced your fear.
That was a sink or swim moment.
Yeah.
I gave him back to a pet store.
You faced your fear.
I was a big fan as a kid of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I read the book, I put on a little record and I would just flip it. So as a kid, I fell in love with that story. So my character name or my moniker was Ichabod. I thought it sounded good. I remember the frogs in the movie going, Ichabod, Ichabod.
It's one of the best night names ever.
It was a great night name. And it wasn't anything particular except for I just liked the way that it sounded.
Sure.
And so Ichabod rolled off. And so Ichabod was my moniker. But there was something that happened. So we were in the Legion of Terror together, right? We all had monikers. The organization fractured. We all went to the Haunted Hydro. We then started to break out, but there was something that I think was a monumental shift in hunting, and that was it wasn't the JCs, it wasn't the Lions Club. The for-profits started to move in, and so the hunting went from nonprofit, generally speaking, with $3, $4, $5 tickets, to for-profits. And that was kind of that, and let's call it, I'm just guessing 95, 96, 97, 98,
Yep.
where the for-profits started to shift. And as we were breaking free, the for-profits were coming in going, we need Rex Hamilton. Can you teach us how, females should act? Can you, shoot DVDs? And so there was a demand for knowledge at the same time that we were breaking out. And so I want to go back to Rex, and that is, so Rex, you were doing quite a bit of teaching because at that point, it was, what was it, 10 ways to better newspaper advertising? Because at the time, you all of a sudden took your decades of knowledge back in the mid-90s and you started to teach at Trans World and bring the actor and bring a whole different perspective to the industry.
Right, but I did not teach acting, and I still don't teach acting because I've never found a good way to do it in a classroom environment.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you have to want to do. So what I do is inside the haunted house that I'm visiting or working at that particular evening, I'll move from one scene to the next scene to the next and spend about 10 minutes inside each scene and work with the actors. And because trying to teach acting in a classroom environment, I just have never found a way to do it. I'm just drawing a blank. Some people can do it, but Roger certainly has done plenty of it, but not me.
But you were teaching, and it was part of one of the founding members of the Ohio Haunted Conference.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
So give us a quick overview of that, right? Because you were pulling the people together, and you were part of bringing a different perspective, which is the actor, the advertising, the sounds, into a new audience.
Yeah. Right? Well, before we get to that, let me tell you about the classes I did teach.
Yeah.
I did teach classes about marketing and organization. My background was photography, was making TV commercials, radio commercials, newspaper commercials, publicity photographs for haunted houses, and working in sorts of publicity events, promotional events, and so forth. So I would teach those sorts of classes. I also worked for a CPA firm, so I had knowledge about finance. My old man was an attorney, so I brought some legal knowledge to all of that. So I was teaching classes about administration and also about marketing. Those I like teaching. But teaching haunted house acting, no. Not good. So go ahead with your question.
Yeah, and so that also evolved, or maybe not that evolved, but the Ohio Haunted Conference came about, right? And it was a group this was pre-MHC.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Give us just a high-level review of that.
Yeah. Ohio Haunted Conference was a 2-year haunted house convention. The first year was in Mansfield, just a mile or so away from the Mansfield Reformatory. And then the second year was in Columbus, right about where the I-270 outer belt runs into I-71, into Interstate 71. And they came about because I ran into some people who were just as frustrated with the Transworld Convention as I was. The Transworld Convention seemed to us to be focused on producers and, hey, we're going to give you 31 quick, cheap scares, okay? Or we're going to teach you fire safety in 40 minutes or something like that. But there wasn't anything in there about makeup. There wasn't anything in there about costume. There wasn't anything about that kind of showbiz part. And that was our focus. And so that's where that particular convention came from. That was 2001 in Mansfield, 2002 in Columbus, 2003 we didn't do anything because one of our three producers was in the National Guard. That's the year that the United States invented Iraq. And he said to me and the other producer, I'm going to get called up. I'm going to go to Iraq. So we just canceled it that year. And then later on in 2003, Kelly Collins from Columbus called me up and said, Rex, are you going to do that convention anymore? And I said, probably not, Kelly. He said, well, can I do it? And I said, sure. So in 2004, that's when Midwest Haunters Convention began.
Yeah. What an important shift in the industry based upon that, because it was business, right? I mean, it wasn't what birthed out of Ohio Haunted Conference, which then evolved to Midwest Haunters, which now has affected. I mean, because at the time, Transworld, you couldn't be an actor. You couldn't go to Transworld as an actor.
Right.
You had to be part of a business. You had to have a TIN. You had to get a name tag, and actors weren't permitted. And the creative staff were not.
And the professional haunts at that point were leaning more toward the animatronics, and they were minimizing what we as actors and the makeup artists were actually doing and what was scary in the haunt, what was worth investing in.
Yeah, I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come to Jeff, and then to Jeff back. Turn over here, if you would, Craig, because at the very bottom left-hand side of your screen, there's an arrow. If you guys hit that arrow, it gives you an opportunity to share. There's a ton of haunt groups. Share it to your friends list, but if you share, we know it. And if your name is picked next week, you're going to win lot 1, or you'll win lot 2 over here. We're going to talk about this one more time, but again, we wanted to give some vintage haunt memorabilia. There's a lot of folks out there that are like, man, if I had a t-shirt that was 25 years old, I would love it. So this is your chance by sharing it, and we appreciate you guys joining. We're gonna is it pretentious for us to sign those photos? I don't think so. We're signing those photos.
No, we're going to sign it.
We're going to sign the heck out of those.
Jeff, do you want to switch with me?
What?
It's musical spots.
Yeah,
Musical
play-
spots.
Dog is here.
So the reason I wanted to come to Jeff Glatzer was because about that same time that, let's call it Midwest Haunters, we're kind of moving into that Midwest Haunters area, you decided to bring some knowledge to the industry too.
Yeah, because MHC started in 2004.
Yeah.
And Scared Stiff was a concept I came up with at lunch at work because I accumulated so much acting experience. I go, maybe I should write this stuff down. So on legal pads at lunchtime, I start writing content about acting techniques, makeup techniques, and how to interact with customers. And in '99, I debuted my first issue of Scared Stiff at the Transworld convention. Yep, this one here, issue number 1. At the Transworld convention, and I was right next to Wayne Toth, who debuted his Stalkarounds that year. It helped out a little bit because I had a little booth right next to him, and everybody converged on Wayne's booth to order his puppeteering props, and I benefited from it. So I got a few subscribers, and I kept writing. So it was a quarterly magazine. Scared Stiff was a quarterly magazine. We published from '99 to 2003, 5-year plan on purpose, and I interviewed people all over the industry. Not just the haunt industry. I went to the IMATS convention in Pasadena, the International Makeup Artist Trade Show, and I interviewed the best of the best makeup artists in the world. Jeff Dawn, Rick Baker, Stan Winston, you name it, I interviewed them. And their information is in my magazine.
Because at the time, I mean, the internet really wasn't. I mean, that really wasn't your source of
It
information.
was-
You were still grabbing it.
I was lucky because I was a tail end of when you should really publish media. Is the turn of the century really, the millennium? Because after that, shortly thereafter, this stuff wasn't practical. Everybody was reading on tablets, and now 20 years later, it's a cell phone. This would not be practical application for media now, but back then it was a sweet spot. So it made a little dent in the industry. People kind of liked it, and it was informative. There's a lot of how-tos in there. So it's like a cookbook for haunting, like how to, make that recipe, whether it's a makeup design or character, or how is the best approach as this character should I do. So I approached a lot of different facets of haunt, acting, and makeup for the industry. That was my contribution, other than acting.
Black and white.
On
Bring
purpose for the
facts, right?
era of classic horror is why it's in black and white.
Now, what we have in one of our giveaways is we have one of these back issues. I had an extra copy, so we're throwing one of these in here as well. But what I love about this copy is not only does it have great stuff, there is some Castle Blood. One of my favorite haunts, and actually it is my, if somebody were to say, what is your favorite haunt? I would say it's the Sound Experience, right? And inside this one is Dave Lane.
Oh boy.
Who was, kind of the engineer, he had a great creative team there. But the Sound Experience, we were there on the last rites nights in 1998. An incredible experience for me, for folks there as well.
In a church.
You caught a picture of me in Chicago, which Chicago, I mean, they were hard.
80s.
In the 80s, yeah. Screamfest. This was a
That was
Screamfest.
Screamfest?
Yeah.
Keith Ford? Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, even at that time,
Same as I did.
I was jumping into full body.
Yeah, but Roger, I caught Roger. I photographed him when he absolutely nailed somebody to the floor in his full demon suit. It was just well timed. Got lucky.
But the other
Oh yeah. Good job, Roger.
the other thing that I love here is take a look at this one right here.
The bird's eye view?
Rex B. Hamilton,
Oh, yeah.
haunted house actor. Terror is my business.
Sure.
It's a classified ad. That's what it is.
Sure was.
I
Old
took out
school.
an ad
Old school.
in Scared Stiff
Sure.
with the hopes that haunted houses would hire me.
Yeah.
Fly me off someplace, and
Wonder if Larry would do that now.
let's not bring him up in this, okay?
But the important part is that we were there at the the move from nonprofits to for-profits. There was a thirst for knowledge. You were bringing conventions, you were bringing magazines, and then Jeff Beck started gathering footage, right? And that was Playing with Fear. And if you happen to also have your name pulled, this is 3 hours, and I know this is DVD, and folks might go, what's a DVD? What's a DVD? But this was, and there were some videos at the same time. So it was videotape, DVD, but you started bringing movement. You started bringing voices and stuff to the industry as well. Tell us about Playing with Fear. There's a lot of folks here that own a copy, and tell us about this, because I know that there's going to be some folks that want to win this.
Yeah, I couldn't find the Playing with Fear copy tonight, but that was 2005, and it basically highlighted a lot of different people, including Scab5 as individuals, as creative individuals, as well as a lot of different people. And I think we took 2 trips to 2 different haunts. Netherworld was one of them. Nautical Nightmare was another one, I believe. But most of it was individual interviews. We had Rex up in his wall of photos and his life there, and just great stories. I actually started the video off standing on the bricks of Richmond Road, because like a lot of the creativity and a lot of people that we knew, some of those people actually acted there in 1976. My cousin was a trainee under Rex in 1976. I went there as like a 9-year-old. I was too scared to go in. Never went in.
So it's like the Wizard of Oz for a lot of people if they don't really know Richmond Road.
Yeah.
It's the haunt version in Cleveland, Ohio of Wizard of Oz. It was a big deal locally.
Yeah, it was huge. But yeah, playing with fear was just a lot of fun to do, and just tons of, I guess, horror stories, acting stories. But it was a blast to make, and then went into the training DVDs of the makeup, Haunting Makeup Volume 1, Volume 2, and I really wanted to throw like 3 hours plus into each one. The second one was actually 2 discs, just because I couldn't fit it all in one disc by then. But it was great. Also, I mean, every time I teach too, I learn, so I love doing, like he said, somebody said about the avenue of MHC was huge. That opened up a big thing for a training ground. I love doing seminars. In fact, eventually, and I know he's saying about the classroom, eventually I brought a haunt into the classroom.
Yes, you did.
For 2 years. And it's a lot of work. But we opened it up to like 500 people as guests going through on the tour that they were doing for the local haunts in that area of Columbus. So I just like interaction, and I love just hearing and seeing what everybody does, because everybody has that 30 seconds, 3 minutes, whatever it is, or wherever you're at. And I just love to see how people are created. And I'm all about presentation. To me, that's what it's about.
And we had a great opportunity to do some makeup tutorials and some other videos during the time Beth got up at Transworld. We taught quite a bit together, and you also ventured out and did some Transworld seminars way back in the day with specialized, including on acting for females.
Yep. Yeah, it didn't start out intentionally as being for females. Like, I didn't realize that. It was just kind of enjoying. I was leaning a bit more toward the behind the scenes of haunting. I was enjoying when things moved more to for-profit. I was enjoying learning about the behind the scenes and the manager, the stage manager, the acting, the directing. And so initially it started out, which I think most do, as character creation. And then the character creation and the more questions that I would get from haunt owners or other actors leaded me more toward, it goes deeper to, why are you even doing it? A haunt? Why are you doing it? And you can't just doing it because, and this is where I tend to lose listeners, but if it's just because you like wearing fishnets, like, just find your local goth club and just put fishnets on and dress like a goth. But if you're doing it because you really are feeling something and you have a character that you want to convey and you have a purpose of scaring people or startling people or shocking people or entertaining people, then here's how you get there. But it's not a straight line from A to B. And if it's just, I like wearing a costume, you're not going to be a successful haunt actor. You're not going to successfully scare people. You might accidentally startle somebody, but I really enjoyed with the seminars, the more that I taught them, the more I heard the questions and kind of leading me down to saying, I can teach a class on being a haunt actor, but I enjoyed saying, if you want to be successful as a woman in the industry, these are the things that I've experienced, or these are the things that I've witnessed watching other women be successful in the haunt industry.
Jeff Beck, why do you do this? Why?
Well, actually, I want to piggyback to what she just said. There was a group of people, and I won't mention names, and they were cool guys, but they all were nonconformists. They listened to Trent Reznor, and I love them. I just saw them the other day. Nine Inch Nails, all that dark stuff. Marilyn Manson, love that stuff in '94, right? I come in there, and they're like, we don't conform to anything. And they're all wearing like black coats and leather jackets, and they're like, got their sickles out and all this. I'm like, but you guys all look the same, so you're a club, right? But oh no, we're individuals. And so I've always enjoyed, like you said, if you're going to look like you are when you go to the nightclub, who cares? Like, I love the fact that he and I do insurance and medical stuff, and we look like average Joes. It's who sell insurance, right? But when I'm out there acting, I'm anything that I want to be. I'm an old man, I'm a demon, I'm a whatever it is. And that's the beauty of it all. And that's what people should do. Here's the thing about haunt acting. It's not about you. Check your ego. It's about the audience. It's about the customer. That moment that you have with that customer, that'll resonate. If you do something great, they will remember you. And it's about you becoming something completely different. And that's what I love about it. You can become anything that you want to do.
Is that your why?
That's
Is that your why?
Yeah, well, also, I mean, there's a lot of us from divorced families and dysfunctional families. I think a lot of it is too, you get the control that perhaps you don't have in your normal day-to-day life. That's true for me.
Rex, what's your why?
You get to go scream your living guts out and get all the frustrations out of your system. And one of the phrases that I use is that people are looking for weird people. You know, that's what they want.
It's true.
They're looking for weirdos. Okay?
Weirdos. Yeah.
And
Steph, what about you? What's your why?
Weirdo is understated. To me. People need energy. They want to see spectacle. They want energy. They want to laugh too. I've done all that, but I like to live on their peril, and I thrive off of it. So, yeah, it's empowering.
To be on the delivery side, right?
I deliver every time.
The modesty.
yes.
You know, the close up to the eyeball. And I don't know what year it was, but it was like, I don't know, 96, 97, could have been 98. I said something that was just an offhand comment, and it was, haunted house actor is not an entry level position.
Yes.
That was almost 30 years ago that I
Right.
said that, and it's ironic that 30 years later, or 35 or 50 some years, you know, you're like, no, I'm not interested in carrying a walkie-talkie or taking tickets. We want to be part of the show.
Yes.
We are actors.
We want to be the show.
We want to be the show.
Yeah.
But there was a point as a kid that we used to, you know, as kids, I mean, it was 70s, right? And we were going to the very first haunted houses. And I remember going as a kid that there was whether you were with a group or not, you connected with the people in front of you and the people behind you. And just like, you know, maybe going to a thrill ride where, you know, you go down the top thrill drag strip, you get to the bottom and like the adrenaline is pumping and everybody's like, ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, that was what I experienced as a kid and as a teen, as a customer. And I loved that. Some of my memorable experiences are going through haunted houses as a teen or as a kid or sometimes even adult, and it brought people together. And that was something that I enjoyed doing, was, you know, try to create those memories for the audiences that we were acting in front of. As we're kind of rounding third here, because we're about an hour in, this could be a couple of quick popcorn questions. Rex, you're two international actors. Where have you acted outside the country?
Outside of the country, I acted in China in 2001. I went to Hong Kong, China, worked at a combination amusement park and aquarium called Ocean Park in Hong Kong. It was the trip of a lifetime. 18 hours to get there, and wow, what a trip.
Right after 9/11, right?
Right after 9/11, I'm the first American haunted house actor in China. The owners of the amusement park wanted to extend their season. Up until that year in 2001, they'd always closed on October 1st. But they wanted to extend their season and make some more money. So they came to the Trans World Show. They bought 2 haunted houses from John Denley up there in Massachusetts. They came to the seminar day. I saw them at the back of the room at lunchtime. So I went over and sat with them, and we talked about what they were doing. And I said, "You need to hire me." And they did. That was
Love
great.
it. Love it.
It's great.
You're also outside the country, right? Where have you acted at?
2011, 2.5 weeks at the Royal Easter Show in Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And I was kind of like the head guy. They got everybody ready, did some makeups, but it was pretty fast stuff. It was the Horror Nights haunt. But basically, they just kind of did Hollywood stuff. Stole the rights and did Freddy's and all that stuff. Leatherface and Ray and all that. I did original characters, and I had another friend of mine from the Haunted Hydro, and I wanted to throw Bob Turner's name out there because Bob Turner basically got me the gig. He had done it the year before, and he recommended me, and it was a great job. So I got paid to do that, and I God bless him, let me go away for 2.5 weeks. It was incredible.
Beth, what was one of the more memorable shows that you remember acting at anywhere?
Lordy, when you surprise me with questions. I would say Mystery Manor, definitely. at
Especially that
point.
slide.
Yeah.
Like,
That's like
That was
great.
great.
I had no idea, and I was so used to the other haunts that we'd been at, where like they had made room for the actors to go behind the scenes, and I was in Mystery Manor for like 2 seconds, and I was lost. But I also loved the Hinckley Haunted Barn. Like it was so old school, so it wasn't the most impressive, but it brought joy to my heart. Like I loved wandering around there and scaring through that.
yeah.
So
The Glatzer. What about you?
Asylum experience.
Sound experience? The sound experience.
Acted in a church. Stop and show. They had a crank through in one half of the show. The other half was a stop and show where you had a full skit. Stopped everybody in the group. Everybody watched what happened. Like the teacher scene was amazing. It had rows and rows and rows of the baby chairs, the wooden chairs, the old-fashioned ones. Chalkboard and the teacher at the front of the classroom. And then she was in a groove. She was on a slider, and she would come to the back of the room, and her head would come off and scare the audience. So that was really cool.
I mean, there are so many good ones. You know, I mean, how could you not, throw in the Haunted Hydro as our, I remember mid-90s just going out there, acting in that hydroelectric plant was great. Obviously Netherworld. I mean, you'll never forget Netherworld if you've been there. Erebus. I've got actually a quick story as I'm kind of finishing out here. So I think we were up at the Haunted Hydro, maybe one of his weekend, and Ed gave me Haunted Gallery.
What?
Which
Ed Terebus.
Ed Terebus,
Mhm.
because the Haunted Gallery was their haunt before they opened Erebus.
Oh yeah, that was their.
And so two-sided shirt.
Classic.
So this has always
Wow.
been kind of a prized possession. Kind of an early.
how many haunt shirts do you think you have stashed between our basement and our
Oh, my
attic?
gosh.
Like,
Well, I have a lot, but I don't have as many as Mr. 119 shows.
I don't know. I've got several tubs of T-shirts
Not
up
me
in the
anymore.
attic that I haven't even worn yet.
I
Hey,
have-
before we go, I just want to get back to Wayne Seeley one
Yeah.
time, because
Oh.
there's something of Wayne's that I preach and say all the darn time to every haunt that I go to, and that is a haunted house is only as good as its actors.
Yep.
Right there.
I want to, as we're wrapping things up, thank you guys for joining us. We encourage you to share it, because when you share it gets out to larger audiences. If you have questions for us, please ask. If you put comments here or if you put words in the comments, we'll go ahead and follow up with them. We've lost some friends, and after when you're around for as long as we have been, for as long as Rex has been, we've lost some friends. You're talking about Wayne Seeley. We had to say goodbye to Wayne a few years ago. And that was, what a generous, visionary.
Right.
Who else have we lost?
Well, we lost
Wow.
Ed Cashman.
Vince.
Vince Westfall.
A lot of
Vince.
locals,
I
yes.
love that.
Vince.
Yeah, my brother Dave Schaff,
Yeah.
right.
Lance Pope,
Lance Pope is
And
gone.
over the years, absolutely.
Karen Murphy.
Karen Murphy's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Even some of the Love You guys.
But
Yeah.
Jeremy, something.
Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy
Havanek.
Havanek is gone.
As a tribute to Rex a little bit, I was in the room at Transworld where Crazy Bob was leading the room, asking who has the most seniority. Haunted house years. All right, those that have 30 or more, stand up. Most of the room did. All right, 40 or more, a lot less. And then 50 or more. It's him
That
and
was-
Wayne Seeley.
Yep.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it, you guys.
Yep.
And,
The room was 250 people.
yeah, I mean, you have to put in the years and the repetitions to outlast. We don't want to forget, Ed Terebus, as I was, pulled that.
Oh, great guy.
What a great guy! What a phenomenal show! I mean, I consider myself blessed to be surrounded by some of the most talented people, I think, around. I mean, haunters, we're experienced creators, we're improv actors. For some of us, it is about scaring the bejesus out of people.
That too. Yeah.
And for others, it's like I want to I want to create an experience that they won't forget. And
Be memorable.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
What is left in front of us? Anything? Anything on the bucket list? If you're like, because Rex, you are still traveling.
I'm still traveling because every haunt is so different. I don't get tired of it. I'm going to go to Kansas this year. I've never set foot in the state of Kansas in my life. I'm going to Missouri. And I've never been to these haunts. I've just met the owners, and who knows what the heck is going to happen. Next year, I'm thinking of going to Arkansas and Oklahoma. I've never set foot in either state. So, hey, it's a big, wide world out there.
It is.
I remember,
it's not ready for you.
I remember looking out of the window of the plane, coming back from China, and crossing over the western Pacific border of the United States, and you could see the aurora borealis up there near the North Pole and so forth. It's a big, big world out there. It's a big
Love
world.
it.
Well, Rex has a great quote. I'll let you try to remember it. You said something like, every year you get a chance to meet a lot of strange people out there, and every year you keep meeting more and more and more.
Right.
And I think that that's a big point. It's just the amount of creative people that you meet. It inspires you. I think we've all become 4 times as good as we would have been. No offense to where we came from, but because we ventured out and grew our wings and kind of found our own paths.
Yep.
And we come back and kind of mingle again, and we go back and do our thing and come back, and it's just incredible. I don't think there's a lot of creative groups like this that.
And we're still
Stay
friends
intact.
after 30 years.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
That's huge.
We've done CD release parties with Midnight Syndicate. We did the Dead Matter.
Yeah, we did.
Full length film.
We've done motion pictures.
We've done tutorials.
Rachel Ray show.
Yep, we've done. we've stepped into Boy Scouts, kid shows. We've gone to libraries,
We've done music videos.
music
Mhm.
videos.
We've taught high school classes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many other programs have started because we went out. I mean, so Dave Odney and the special effects and theater programs at the Cuyahoga Falls High School and theater, the Hydro, Bob shifted how he was training his actors and makeup artists. Netherworld, I mean, he completely changed. Ben, I think, made a lot of shifts based on introspective conversations about haunted house actors not being in
We
an
made him
entry-level
rich.
position.
Oh,
yeah.
no. Ben
I'm not
Armstrong
gonna
made
argue
Ben
that.
Armstrong rich.
And
You were the cherry on top.
Yeah, it was
He had
going to happen
everything he
regardless.
needed.
Ben, it was going to happen regardless.
Yeah.
But
He had everything he
we made
needed.
him maybe think about actors more, but I mean,
But the opportunity
the
to
show is the
expand
the
it.
building and the sets, the best sets in the world.
Absolutely.
It is the Walt
Sure.
Disney World of haunted
Yes,
houses.
it
If you
is.
haven't been, get your
Of
butt down
course.
there. Another world.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Jeff Glasser, anything on the bucket list? You've done quite a bit over the years.
Mhm.
Anything
Making
that
teeth now.
what do you mean making teeth?
Prosthetic teeth.
Prosthetic teeth.
He made me 2 sets
Both
last year.
these guys
Yeah.
are wearing my teeth.
Yes,
Yeah.
really, seriously, call
I
this
have to
guy.
redo Rex's here in the next week, but yeah.
It's because the 2 most important things of a makeup aren't even a makeup. It's your eyes and your teeth.
And
Contact
your
lenses, and I know that there's such a avalanche of contacts over the years, but still, eyes and teeth are what it's about.
Don't forget your hair.
Yep.
On your shoes.
Oh yes,
Forget your
No white
hair.
shoes.
but I'm saying, like right in here, it's your eyes and your teeth. You got to do something with them. No one wants to see pearly whites.
I
There you go.
see so many haunted house
I'm gonna make
actors.
those for you.
Oh, those are pretty.
Wigs.
I
hats.
see so many haunted house actors. They got a great face and they've got just a regular
Yeah.
haircut.
Look at
It's
Mess,
worse
and
now
the
than
girls
ever.
especially, that drives me insane. Like, I know your hair is pretty, but
Yeah.
come on now.
It's worse
Mess
now
your
than
hair up.
ever.
Right?
The
Get a
Get
tattoos
your
wig.
hair
are
up.
out of
Get a
control.
wig.
They're not using makeup to cover it. They're exposing it. It's like, you're Sally on South Street. I don't care. You do not blend into the show. And I'll tell them that if I go there. You're not even close. They do in Hollywood. They mask over the makeup, the tattoos with makeup for professional reasons. You can wear a sleeve, okay, lace or
Yep.
shredded costume.
Booties.
God damn it.
whatever.
God
His
damn it, I'm
monster, was
frustrated
that,
with
didn't
them.
you guys call
Don't
his
get me
monster
started.
feet?
Flesh
booties?
booties.
I want
Flesh
to-
booties.
Flesh booties.
I want to make a worm suit. Just come out as a worm and just sliver on the gravel. You know, like don't be even a human being. You know, just be
Yeah.
something.
Worm suit. Oh my gosh. All
Didn't
right.
you do that once, Mr. Colorful?
And I'm going to spend a little bit of time, a little more time at Number Cleveland.
There?
Yeah, I mean,
Get
I've
your-
kind of
get
planted
back up
myself
on
there
that
for a bit.
billboard.
I love, it's a great show, and
I
and I
worked
love
there.
like a mad scientist, and so I'm just going to take that to my
The shift in
to my
ownership?
advantage. No, but their show continues to evolve each
Yes.
year. So I mean, it is certainly taking each year it shifts, and it's a fun and it's excellence there. But we appreciate you guys joining. There's some vintage Hump memorabilia up for grabs, so go ahead and share. Beth Miller, Jeff Beck, Rex Hamilton, Jeff Glatzer. We've been together for 31 years as a mobile troupe.
Yep.
I can't say that I've had better friends or more memorable times than I had with you guys. So,
And we've never been arrested, so,
never been arrested.
Nope.
so we're
At
good.
least
Never
not
been
while
Been
we're
talked
talking.
to, but
They're
not
convicted.
arrested.
Well, a big quick shout out to Roger because Roger's the guy that said, "What are you guys doing tomorrow?" And he's the one that headed up the thing to Bob. So
Yes,
if it
he
wasn't
did.
for him,
Yeah,
I
he
probably would
brokered
stay
it.
at Bloodview.
Isn't that
So
your
I
middle name,
appreciate
broker? That's your middle name is broker. That's all you do.
Yeah.
And he brokered our threshold into
Yeah.
the hydro,
Yeah.
and it was like a second home. We were at Bloodview at the time.
Yeah.
It was nice to go out there 3 times a month. It was really nice.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
Well, it is cool to know weird people who do weird things. And we appreciate you weirdos joining us too. We'll see you next week.